Welcome. What's good, y'all? To the live stream show, Land Your Bets, however order you want to say it. Got a couple of y'all in here already. So we're looking at a couple bets that you guys already put into the comments. Appreciate that. For those of y'all that are still jumping in here, maybe you're new, jump in the comments with a bet. We go over that together. I show you guys some of the process, all the stuff that you're going to want to see in terms of the sites that I'm using and the tools that I'm putting together here to find these bets. That's all going to be in the description of the video, all the links to that stuff. So make sure you check that out. Appreciate subscribe to the page. Definitely like the video if you like what you're getting. I'm trying to make it about what you guys want to look at too, and on top of what I got. Appreciate you, Rockstar. Good to have you in here, bro. Good to have you too, Edgar. Got Free Sauce in here. What's good? You will be happy to know that I have been working on that Discord thoroughly, so we're gonna get that going. I'm pretty excited for what I got in there to hang with y'all in the Discord and keep talking hoop after the live streams end. But we're gonna wait for a couple of y'all to get back in here. Appreciate you guys with the love. We're gonna take a look at some of these bets. If you look at the bottom there, I've already got some stuff on the card. There was a video last night. I'll run through that real quick. I'm gonna be going through these games kind of game by game as best we can to keep this organized. We got 14 games on the slate here tonight. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at with that as well. Just quick look while we get everybody in here. Wrong one. That basically, it's tough to keep track of what's going on right now, to be honest with you. The first thing I want to show you just is the schedule in general and present that because it's going to be a lot to look at here. So we're going to try to do our best to keep it moving, not waste too much time. So let me pull up the hashtag basketball, which is really what I like to look at to see what is coming up next, not just what games we have right now, but also what games that we got coming up in the schedule for these teams. So if we look at Tuesday right now, we got 14 games right here. The stuff that I'm also looking at to keep track of, so we got some back-to-back. So if I pull up Tuesday and Wednesday, this is really helpful to just be able to see the teams that are going to be playing back-to-back tonight and then tomorrow night. You've probably seen, if you've been following along, you've seen this a couple times, but this is what I'm looking at right here. Denver Nuggets. That's one. I think you probably heard some other smart people talking about this today, where Denver is going to be playing Minnesota tomorrow and a Cupcake squad tonight. And then you've got the same concept for Minnesota. They're playing Cupcake Washington tonight, and then they've got Denver tomorrow. If you do look at that NBA standings, which I meant to have up already for y'all, if you look at the NBA standings, this is going to be crucial this time of year. You got to know who needs to win and who might not need to win quite as badly. If you look at that Western Conference right here, you can see at the top we got these two teams in tie. You also got OKC, who is still alive for that one seed if they want to go for it. I do have a ticket of 10-1 on them to pull that off, so that would be dope if they could pull out the one seed. I'm not betting game to game just about that. Obviously, like I said, we got to keep in mind who teams have tomorrow. They might sit some dudes and might see some more backups. So there's gonna be some opportunities to play some backups tonight. Also, would consider that this Milwaukee game against Boston. Milwaukee needs to win, right? They just need to win everything. They're going to have Dame and Giannis playing in this one. Definitely want to make sure you're looking at the injury report. I'm going to refresh that because we should have, they got the 5:30 report from the NBA up. Not sure if there's going to be too much different on there, but I want to make sure that we're looking at that. Also got the Underdog NBA page up as well. Looks like Joel's a go. So all these dudes are game time decisions for the 76ers. So you can see what we're looking at here. Joel Embiid, Maxey Harris, Kyle Lowry, all game time decisions on Tuesday. So make sure you keep an eye on that. We do know a couple things for some of these games that are going to help us make some picks. So I want to start getting into that. Like I said, let me run through a couple things with y'all real quick so you can see what I bet last night. This was my favorite bet. You know what? Let me also just show you real quick for those of y'all. I didn't have the full season record up on the show the other day because I didn't have the final picks yet. But I do have it now where we're at 30.6 units total up on the season. So still hovering right around that 30 units. Had a little bit of a cold streak, had a good weekend where we went 10-7 total, but made 2.3 units. Much better Sunday than we had Saturday. Hopefully you guys were following along on Sunday. We had a nice big slate and did pretty well. This was the Sunday slate right here. PJ Washington went over by God's good grace. And DA was a great call. I believe D-Bag had that call on his PR. I took his rebounds. He went cleanly over all that. So, like I said, the player props here, 36.4. That's what we kind of ride with the most. We are capped to that. We hang our hat on that, I should say. So we'll keep going with these player props in this one. I got a lot of stuff that's already coming up. The next game I want to look at, and the updated card will also be rolling on the bottom. So make sure you check that out. I'll just finish up and make sure you guys saw the bets in the other video. Definitely want to subscribe to that page. A lot of this stuff has moved, bro. So I came out with this last night. We had the opportunity for some early lines because of the fact that we had no games yesterday, so that UConn Huskies could win the chip right there. Number 6. By the way, Stephon Castle is going to be nice in the league. I don't know if you guys are watching that game, but that dude is NBA ready. Like 19 years old, was under control. Big wing, a future All NBA defender. Like, love Stephon Castle. Going to miss him at UConn, but that did help us get the bets up a little bit early. So we got Draymond here as the first one, over 6.5 boards. I was saying this is laterable. I do want to see real quick what those are at, and I'll look at that in a second when we look at that Lakers game with the Dubs. But Draymond tries against this team, bro. Like, that's just what it comes down to, is that he's always going to be doing this against the Lakers whenever he can. He's guarding AD, so he's close to the basket. He's gone over this in 10 of 13, including the playoffs where they obviously got smacked last year in the playoffs by this Lakers squad, but he was still getting boards in all those games. Kevon Looney is sort of a thing of the past at this point. He's not getting very many minutes at all, so not much else for them in terms of being able to guard AD in this one. So definitely gonna take Draymond on the rebounds. Got a bunch of bets from that Knicks game. Josh Hart was at 4.5 assists. I believe that went up. I think Draymond did tip over to 7.5 boards. I think that's still good because, like I said, I would ladder that. But this is something where it's like, do you think Josh Hart is not getting assists lately at times because OG Anunoby is in? Not really. He didn't get any against the Bulls last game because he got kicked out after kicking Javonte Green in the face pretty much right as in the first 11 minutes of that game, right? So there wasn't much else there for Josh Hart, and every other time he's playing at least 34 minutes, he's gone 9 over 10 of his last 10 doing that. So, the potential assists are still there, up to about 13 a game for him to get 5. Like, this just went down way too low, and I don't think it's correct. So Josh Hart, playmaker stuff against the Bulls. If you look at Courtside Pal, is going to be all good. So we'll keep riding with Josh Hart to get his assists. I'm taking the points and assists for JB, for Jalen Brunson in this game. Hopefully you guys saw that already too, because I think that moved as well. And for Brunson, like, I really like the assists, but he's just taking too many damn shots for me not to add the points. It's just as simple as that. We've been targeting point guard assists against the Bulls all season. Still don't know if Caruso's going to play. He's a big part of that. He gambles all the time, which really leads to those point guard assists as they kind of get the defense in balance. So we'll keep riding with Jalen Brunson. All these are a unit. This one definitely got nuked. Somebody probably was tailing or something, or at least somebody else was playing this yesterday at a pretty big price because OG Anunoby, I think he's at 20 or 21, and might be the best place you can get under PRA for OG here, going under pretty consistently. Just not enough shots for dude, not enough rebound chances, not enough assists. He's out there to guard the other team's best player. It's the main reason I didn't take DeMar DeRozan overs, even though I love to play DeMar DeRozan against the Knicks. One of the only places you can score against the Knicks is in the mid-range, but with OG all over him the whole game, like, I mean, you saw him shut down Giannis. It was a thing of beauty, bro. So I can't get next to that. And this one I wavered back and forth, but I ended up just pulling the full unit on PJ Washington, going back to the PJ well, where we're taking him over, because I believe in the new PJ Washington more so than the old PJ Washington, right? The last 5, 27 a game, 13.5 attempts at the bucket, 52% field goal percentage. So really like what I'm seeing from PJ as of late, and I'll ride with that because this Hornets team does not defend the 3 at all, right? And so that's going to be a big thing. Is PJ making his threes? If he is, then great. Revenge game, all that. It just kind of tipped me over. If you look at PJ's stats and you run it through and you're like, all on the season, the 26 total games that he's played with the Mavs, it doesn't look as good. But you run it through with just the last 5 or 6 and you believe in the amount of minutes and shots that he's taking, then we'll ride with PJ Washington to get his. So those are the early bets there. Let me run into the comments before I just get into my bets too, so we can see what you guys want to play as well and say what's up to y'all. Let's see. I'm gonna get to the top here so I can make sure I get all of them. Yeah, we got Porzingis, KP, and Papa Al are out tonight, so they're out of that. Let's see. Oh, yeah, PJ Washington. We can look at that real quick. I already bet him, so I'm good on him for now. But good to see y'all Henny here, bro. What's up, Rooftop? We got Clint Capella. Yeah, Clint Capella, DD. I was looking at that. I'll add him to the up next for Atlanta. I got one scrolling here as well with all the games. You can see who's gonna be up next on the look ahead here. So let me put him in that Atlanta-Miami game. But it always scares me to take anybody to get overs against Miami, obviously, especially big men down low. But we'll put Capella double in here so we can just kind of look at both of his. Got that saved. So these are going to be the ones that are coming up. If you do want to go over a bet, make sure you jump in those comments. As always, if you're new here. Soldier Boy. Let's see. We got a Booker overlook. Okay. I'm not good at betting the Suns, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. Y'all are probably better at understanding what's going to happen with Phoenix than I am. I feel like it's just could be anybody. There's so many dudes that do the same thing on that team, but we'll take Book and we'll look at his over assists in this one. All right. Saving that. Still scrolling. Let me get a couple more before I get too far away. Yeah, I got Wemby in there already too, so we can look at him. We can look at Luka over assists. We got that from Shadow Stefan. We can look at that. I'll put that in there for now as well because I don't have much else from that Charlotte game other than PJ. So I'll put Luka in here real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on that game, to be honest with you. There's definitely some really good games to look at. And I'm going to start with that Boston game here in a minute. So if you guys do anything for Boston, I'll get it in now because I'm about to pull that one up for you and take a look at it. Chet under points. He never scores on the Kings. Yeah, the Kings are going to be a tough matchup for him if they have the versatility to guard him out there. I do think points might be a little bit harder to come by. I think that spread or the total went up because SGA is in. I think Jalen Williams is in as well, so that would take away from Chet points. So let me add that to the OKC game. I don't have anything yet in that OKC game, so I'll put Chet under points in there and try to keep him moving. I just want to make sure that at the top here I can get as many as I can for y'all. We got Bron assists in there already. Gonna take a look at Luka. Yeah, Clint's always a sweat, bro. Clint Capella always a sweat. Yeah, Vooch. I think he might have gone under in the last game. We can take a quick look at that. I have so many bets in that Chicago game. I did want to look at Kobe White unders as well. He's on there. I'll put him in here for now, just so even if I put him in here, I might not be able to get to him. Like I said, we got 14 games. There's gonna be a lot of bets coming through here. So Drew is something I'm gonna look at. I'm gonna start with that game. I'm gonna look at Drew through the lens of Derek White, to be honest with you, Free Sauce, because I always love Derek White when somebody's out. He's a big step up player for them for sure. We are gonna look at I'll throw Bam in there because we do have Nurk in there already. And then Cade, is he even gonna play? I have not even stepped like 1 second on that Detroit game. Yeah, I'm trying to like stay real tight to the ones that I actually know a bit more about. Got to put Kelly O in there. I don't have another bet up for that game, but I saw Siakam and I saw Kelly O, so I'm going to put them here as well. Let me add them to that indie game, and we got RJ in there as well. So I'll put Siakam. I think it was rebounds. I'll look at points and rebounds, and then we got the other bet was fading Kelly O as we do under whatever. All right, cool. So I'm gonna get going on this stuff. If y'all do have some more bets, keep throwing them in. If you don't see me catch them, then just let me know. Put it again. I'll get there. I promise. So let me get into some of this though, because we do have some stuff to get into already, right? So if you look at these are all gonna be upcoming stuff here. I'm gonna actually just pull up what we already have going and start with this Boston game, like I said. So we're on Boston right now, knowing that Al Horford and Kristaps are out. So if you are new, you see me starting with props.cash. I'm always going to be starting with props.cash because I do like that as like sort of the hub of where you can get kind of everything you might need in one spot. And there's a couple others that we're going to use. All the video, all the tools that I'm going to be using here, they're going to be linked in the description of the video. So make sure you check that out. As soon as this Discord pops off this week, they're all going to be listed there as well with maybe a few tutorials on how to use them. But let's get into this Boston game. And I'm skipping a few that are coming before it because Milwaukee's got to win this game, right? Like I think no matter what, and let me pull up the most updated lines on action, but I just think no matter what, like Boston's probably going to be playing Sam Hauser, Luke Cornett, and Peyton Pritchard in the second half, which is going to mean a ton of points probably coming from that heavy offense. And it also means careful with taking overs for these other dudes on Boston, right? So here's what I was looking at, because I'm kind of looking at everybody at once. And one of the beautiful parts about props.cash is once you go into a player like starting with Derek White, you can see what he does very specifically without other dudes, right? So I'm going to take out Al Horford and Kristaps. You can see if I have it on the last 10, it's giving me all these last 10, including last season, which it was a lot of like he didn't have these dudes for most of or all of last season, right? So I only took out Kristaps. Let me also take out Al Horford. So now you can see it's going back into March of last year on props.cash. It goes back too far. So I just want to filter it to just 23-24 to this season, you can see he's played without these dudes 3 times. The points he's gotten clean over 21 a game, getting at least 19 in all 3. And granted, one was Orlando, really good defense, especially against Derek White's position. One was Toronto, horrible, and they actually still had their players, but they were probably some hurt players in that one. And then Utah, a month ago or so, and Utah's terrible. We know that. But the points he's still gone over. I just want to make that clear with a grain of salt. The rebounds he's gone over all 3, averaging 5. Needs 4, and the dimes he's up at 6 a game, needing 5, right? And you look at the PRA, you combine all them together, like he's clean over 22 and a half points, rebounds, and assists in this matchup here, or in this exact context where he's got Al Horford out, Kristaps out, right? So yeah, he's the dude that honestly he jumps the most without both those dudes in. When you look at 32 PRA compared to needing 23, right? Now look, like I said, it's likely that they sit a lot of dudes, but he also is a guy that we've talked about who plays a lot, even through blowouts, even when they win by a ton of points. Like if I do win by 10 plus for Derek White, and I take out the filters without Al and without Kristaps on the season, he's gone over this number still in 62% of games, even when they're winning by 10 plus points, which by the way is insane that it's happened 37 times this season. And by the way, they're not winning. They're not blowing this team out. It's just more about what happens when they're sitting dudes. And that's how we're filtering it to see what happens when Boston sits dudes, is we're going when they win by 10 plus points. He's still playing 30 and a half minutes. So even when they're like, we don't really need our starters in there, Derek White's still kind of the adult in the room who gets a ton of time. So I can tell you right now that I'm putting him on my card. Now, Drew is a good look for sure. I want to see what Drew does exactly. Now, the other thing real quick before I go too far is let me bring up our best friend, Courtside Pal, because Courtside Pal shows us player profiles and tendencies versus team defense. So I'm going to pull up Derek White. He's going to be similar to Drew Holiday in some ways. They're both big guards that are very good at rebounding, very good at defense, and also rebounding. Both can dime up. Both can score. They're very versatile. But if I look at Derek White versus Milwaukee, this is his shot profile, meaning where he shoots from, the type of shooter that he is on offense. Milwaukee gives up the most to his player profile in terms of where he's shooting from. They give up if we look at points, filtering it by points and going to score, his score profile, they give up the 10th most, right? Like where he's actually scoring from and the type of player he is on offense when he's attacking to score. In terms of rebounds, they give up the 7th most to his rebounding profile. In terms of dimes, you look at PM, that's his playmaker profile. They give up the 10th most. So I'm really comfortable with the way that he gets his stats, his player profile stats up against this Milwaukee squad. I really like that. I will say so just to recap here, in terms of his shooting, he gets the most points from where he's shooting from, where he's the type of scorer that he is, the 10th most. Playmaker assists, he gets the 10th most, I believe. Yep. And then for rebounding, and his rebounding profile, he gets the 7th most, right? So it's really all top 10. I'm gonna look at Drew real quick, and I think it's pretty good too. I mean, for Drew, there is the revenge factor, but if I pull up Drew Holiday, how he played against them this season, head to head, and that's not a win by 10, but head to head, he's 0 for 2, and he's really in PRA, he's only at 13 a game, needing 20 against this squad. Like if anybody seems like they might not play that much at the end, he only played 27 minutes in those games. And if anybody looks like they might not play that much, honestly, like it would be Drew to a degree. He's the one who has had more injury trouble this season than the other two. If we put him in here and look at him versus Milwaukee, his shooting profile, he's going to be 11th, right? So he's a little bit different of a shooter. His scoring profile, where he can actually score from, and the type of scorer that he is attacking the basket, a little bit better than Derek White. The rebounds, a little bit better rebounding profile against this team than Derek White, and he's a better rebounder in general, to be honest. And then assist profile, he's about the same, about 11. So he's very similar to Derek White, and he's not a bad play either. It's just I don't know if I actually trust the minutes for him quite as much as I trust them for Derek White. You look at blowouts, so we go win by 10. On the season, still hitting it at a pretty good number because the points are kind of low, honestly. I don't hate Drew Holiday, but I don't feel like I can take both he and Derek White. And I like the PRA for D. White. You know that Tatum and Brown might be coming out after the first half, right? So I'm a little bit scared to take them, obviously, when actually Jaylen Brown's a little bit more blowout proof as well. I don't see them just completely laying down, but by the second half, like I think it's better to be focusing on other dudes than the star. So I'm taking Derek White on the PRA. It did jump up because it was at 21.5, and I did take that earlier. So I'll just give that again. You can still get minus 111, 21.5 on Caesars. So I'm going to put that one in here on the bottom line, have that scrolling. So you can see that has been updated with D White. I'm going to go over 21.5 PRA. I'm going to take minus 111 on Caesar. I hit that earlier. I believe it was minus 105, and it's not available anymore, so I can't give that out. But I am going to put a full unit on D White because that's how confident I am in our boy tonight. He comes through for us, man. This is a dude that we've hit on a number of times. Some of the other stuff in here, I do think we got to look at Giannis real quick, just to be very clear. Giannis rebounds is kind of what I'm feeling. I have no problem taking Giannis points, but the rebounds should still be 11.5. So you can still get 11.5. Over the best price you can get is minus 125 for Giannis. And I mean, it just comes down to there not being any bigs on the floor for Boston. I mean, Jason Tatum's a great rebounder for his size. Jaylen Brown, great rebounder for his size. None of them touch Giannis at this point, right? If you look at Giannis and just look at his rebounding props lately. So I'm going to go to team advanced stats on NBA.com. I'm going to go to players, and I'm going to go to tracking. And now I'm going to see rebounding for Giannis. So I can see specifically all the like really specific rebound stats for Antetokounmpo here. I'm going to go last 10 games. I know like Dame hasn't played in a couple of them, but Bobby Poe and Brook Lopez, both of them have played a lot. So I got to filter this to last 10. I'm going to filter it through to the Milwaukee Bucks only and pull up their rebound chances. That's where we love to start. I mean, 21.3, no shocker here. Ton of rebounds and chances for Giannis over the last. This is 8 of the last 10 where he's played. I believe he missed 1 or 2, and there wasn't tracking for one of them. But rebound chances at 21, boards at 14.5. It's a good rebound chance percentage. Like I said, 65 to 70% is going to be the top rebounders getting that rebound chances at percentage at that rate. So I'm good with that. He does not defer rebound chances, even though it says like the most of them. It's because he has the most chances. So contested rebounds, 38%. That's really good as well. You want that as close to 40 as you can get for getting rebound percentage when they're contested. So I just think everything for Giannis, like I could look at on-off stuff as well for this Boston squad real quick. And I know that, if I look at the team specifically and I go to Boston and I look at change team stats to on-off court, and I'll do advanced so I can look at the rebound percentage instead of just the total rebounds. And I look at who on court best rebound percentage on the team. You look, I mean, Luke Cornett's up there. He's going to be fine, but who knows how many minutes he's going to get. It's going to be all these starters, right? And it's going to be a lot of Al Horford and Kristaps as well. So like it's not that much, it's not as helpful of a stat, but it is good to see like what happens when they're on off the court. And in general, like it's going to be a worse rebounding team. It's just that simple. So we're going to roll with Giannis over on the boards. Let me see what y'all are saying in here too. If anybody has anything for this one. Yeah, we got Naz Reid in there. Yeah, we got Naz Reid. Don't worry. We've got him coming up for I'm going to put this bottom line scrolling right now is going to be upcoming stuff that we're still looking at. So you're going to see Naz Reid's name in there. If you see somebody's name coming up on the bottom line right now, that does mean that they are going to be coming up here in a minute. So I'm going to add Giannis to the tracker here, put him on updated card and put a half a unit on his boards. If you want to take the points for Giannis, like it's go time, bro. Like there's not going to be any stopping, and there's now no down low defense for this Boston squad. So we got Giannis over 11.5 rebs. And I can get that. My best number there is going to be minus 125, I think. Yeah, on DK. So that's still, I took it earlier once again, but I'm giving you the best price. That's also why the Discord is going to be fire, because these numbers are not going to drop for us. We're going to have the exact same bets that I actually make and not get worried about it. So I'm going to put the half a unit on the rebounds for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Feel good about that and keep it moving. All right. For this one, like I said, if you want to bet Drew, it is something like kind of between he and Derek White. I get it. I'm passing on Drew for this one and just going with Giannis. With Derek White. And then if you want Giannis in there as well, I get it. So I'm going to move us along and do upcoming stuff for this next game. I will quickly look at Dallas and Charlotte just for Luka mostly. We do have a bet for PJ Washington in there already if you want that. So next up, we are going to look at and if you do want some Peyton Pritchard stuff, I mean, it makes sense. I think he and Sam Hauser are going to be in there a lot in the second half. So if you want like some white boy props for this Boston team, I think Sam Hauser points, they're 10.5. It's still a bit. I think the books are aware of what's going on. Like Tatum at 24.5 points is stupid low. He's been at 27, 28.5. And now you have no Kristaps as well. Like Tatum's got some low props because I don't think the books expect him to play. Oh, my bad. They don't expect him to play much in the second half, and neither do I. They can sit everybody. There's no reason to play these dudes too hard in the second half. If we're on Boston already, I'll just show you. If we go to players and look at the last, let's look at the last 3 games for this team, and then let's just look at the second half. And I'll look at all quarters. Where's halves? Oh, I can't just look at halves, huh? Let's look at fourth quarter then. That's mad weird. We'll look at fourth quarter and who's playing the minutes for Boston, just so you can see here. We got Xavier Tillman and Peyton Pritchard as the leading minute getters here in the fourth quarter. Derek White, and then, yeah, you got some starters in here, but you've got 8 minutes a game over the last 3 for Svi Mikhailic. Make sure that you remember that name. Svi's going to be playing. Sam Hauser's going to be playing. So all these dudes playing in the fourth means I do think that they're going to they're a better bet than other dudes in that Boston game. So keep that in mind, and maybe you can even take a live total, a live point prop there. But I think the books are well aware that there's going to be a lot of subs coming in and late in the game for Boston. So keep an eye on that. We're looking at Luka, and I believe we're talking about assists for him is what I have up. That is the only bet that we have for this game. So let me look at that real quick. Luka dimes against this squad. The dimes are at -152 for him to get 10. At that point, yeah, once again, the triple-double is always live for Luka, to be honest. But, like, is this going to be a close game? I don't have much reason to believe it will be, to be honest. He's gotten the rebounds, he's gotten more. I will say Charlotte is a little bit better at limiting assists. Let's put Luka in courtside POW so we can see his player profile instead of just his position, because Luka is more than a point guard. Luka, if there was a Magic Johnson profile, that's what Luka Doncic is, right? So we look at points for Luka against this team just to kick it off. Charlotte's susceptible to his shooting profile. His scoring profile, they're a little bit better at limiting. I will say the thing that Charlotte is really good at is limiting the ball handler in the pick and roll. So I'm going to real quick show you play type stuff on advanced stats on NBA. So you go to teams and you go to play type. Now you can see the exact types of plays that these teams run a little bit. If we go to defensive, pick and roll ball handler, right? We changed that play type to pick and roll ball handler so we can see how they defend that, because we changed offensive to defensive. The amount of possessions per game for Charlotte that they're defending this play, 4th fewest, with a really short frequency. They're not, and this is also when they're like getting shots off. So the other team isn't really getting many shots off from the ball handler. They are a top 6-ish, 7? Okay, they're top 10 in terms of points per possession that they're giving up points to the ball handler on the other team during the pick and roll. I mean, Luka, it does go a little bit better than that, but that's a decent reason for why they're pretty good at limiting his profile, his scoring profile. If we look at playmaker stuff in terms of his stuff against Charlotte, where are they at? Middle of the pack a little bit. They're 15th, literally dead middle in terms of limiting assists. I mean, if we look at the last 3 games, let's look at Mavericks versus Hornets. Let's do last 3 games, because it was 2 last year and 1 this year. Last 3 games. Charlotte actually won 1 earlier this year. My bad, I forgot about that entirely. Obviously, these teams looked way different. And if we look at Luka's stats in that one, I know he didn't have. That was a really weird game. That's right. And they had LaMelo, so it was way different. 23, 12, and 9. 36 minutes. It's tough to gain much from that with the way that it was much different from this one. But Luka for the assists, like, there's not enough an edge for me, honestly. Like, even if you look at his potentials over the last 10, and let's look at head-to-head. His potential assists were at about 17 to 16 to get 10. Like, I don't like needing it to be like that high, right? 60%, 70%. That's really high for him to get the assist. So I'm passing on Luka. We're not going to spend too much time on this one. This is just not quite like a Luka game where I just don't really know what's going to happen. They do need to win, I will say. If we're looking at they're 6 games back. They got a 2-game cushion on both sides if they want a shot at beating the Clippers for the 4 seed, so they have home court advantage. But it's not like we got to go crazy to win this one, to be honest. There's not an edge there for me. So I'm going to pass on that because there's plenty of bets to come. So let's pull up this Indy at Toronto game and go from there, because we're going to have those bets coming up now. And there was a few that y'all want to look at. I mean, this is definitely not my favorite game to look at or bet, but I'm a man of the people, so we got to get into it. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm talking about, Brian Andrews. Be careful. Half of these playoffs teams do not care. I think in the 28 games or the 28 teams that are playing here, I would say 15 of them are the teams that really need to win or are going to be for sure trying. So that's something to consider. That's a good call. Lillard over 3s in that Boston game might be a good look because I do know that is where they are very susceptible. What did Lillard do in those other games real quick, just because I didn't look at Dame at all. And I do want to keep it moving. I promise. Dame 3s, 3.5 for plus money. Ballsy. If we're looking at head-to-head here and his 3-point attempts, in the games he's played with the Bucks this season. So he's played 3 with the Bucks this season against them. He's taken about 10 a game, 9, about just under 10 a game in terms of the 3-point attempts. For him to get 4 at 40%, like, yeah, it's not enough of an edge, right? At 40% with the way he's shooting. Even if he does shoot 10, needs to make 4. I'm not banking on that for him. I mean, above the break stuff is going to be where they're a little bit vulnerable. So I see that look, but I'm off of Dame. That's always true, bro. Daryl Brethel brings up a good point. Reminder that whenever you're betting Draymond overs, the possibility of him getting thrown out of a game is always very high. I just wish it was better, but the unders for Draymond always have a little bit of an edge because he might just get thrown out, be wilding out, right? Exactly. So Celtics, that was the point I was making earlier from Brian, is that the Celtics don't play their starters. Luka rebounds. I'll just finish it up with the Charlotte game. That is something to just we're already on the Charlotte game. I'm about to close it out, but for Luka rebounds, that was a better look in my opinion than the assists. He's at 9.5 boards. He's gotten all 3 since last season against his team. He's gone over. His rebound chances are going to be super high. Let's look at that real quick. And we know that this Hornets team is terrible at rebounding, just terrible. If we look at tracking. Let's look at the last 10 for Luka and see how he's been boarding up, because he has gone over, 7 of his last 10 right here? Yes, 7 of 10 he's gone over. We look at rebound chances by filtering this for last 10, and we just look at the Dallas Mavericks for Luka's rebound chances, 16, 15 of them to get the 10 boards. I mean, he has been doing it. He is a rebound chaser. I mean, his rebound percentage is at 71%. But they're mostly uncontested. He just comes in and cleans up the garbage ones for sure. I think this game's going to go a little bit slower. These two teams are playing at a super slow pace. So even the rebound chances being there for him at like 15, if they are, maybe 14, not quite a good look for me. Luka is going to Luka, but I'm off of that right now. So I'm nothing for that Charlotte game. That's one that I don't trust. I got nothing for this Detroit-Philly game, which I'm glad that nobody's really been talking or asking about that game. There's barely props up for it. You could consider a Joel first quarter points because there's no way that he's playing very deep into that game. But let's just move on to this Indy-Toronto one, because that is what I have coming up right here. And there's 3 bets we're looking at. So we're starting with RJ Barrett. And let's pull up RJ. So we know IQ is out, right? Emmanuel Quickley's out, as are most of the players for this squad, as has been the case for a long time right now. For RJ, since he's come back from injury, he's played 3 games. He's gone over in 2 of 3. He failed to go over versus Washington, which is hella surprising. He played 36 minutes in that game, and his minutes are going up. 19 field goals, and he got 22 points. He got to the free throw line. Let's see, he took 3 threes against Washington, missed all of them. So that was not helpful. Actually, they have a pretty good 3-point defense. Free throws, he's at 4. How many? Indy will hemorrhage free throws for sure. Let's put RJ Barrett in here and see what we come up with in Courtside Pal versus Indy. I guess you call RJ a big shooting guard or a short, small forward, to be honest. But let's look at points against Indy. 3rd most points for his shooting profile and 6th most points for his scoring profile. Rebounds against Indy, they're actually a pretty good rebounding team, 19th, so not great. And then dimes, they also don't give up very many dimes, right? Yeah, they give up the least dimes, the fewest amount of assists to his playmaker profile on Courtside Pal. So we got to keep that in mind when we look at him there. They do not give up a ton. I think the points are what you're looking at. Let's look at Props Madness for a minute. This is a really solid website that I've talked to you guys about a ton now. Hopefully you are a little bit familiar. The link is in the description of the video. And Pips did a great job making this thing and still continues to make it better. Reason I come here, as similar as it might be in some ways to props.cash, what it does best is it shows you the where this dude is shooting from and where this opposing defense is best at defending, right? So they're actually one of the best 3-point defense in terms of the corner 3 over here and the above the break 3 for this Indy team. So I've got this on opponent defense, and you can see all the red with the 1 there means they're number 1 at limiting that. But like I said, you look right here, RJ's getting 8 points per game off of the free throws. He's barreling to the basket. 28% of his points are coming from the free throw line. And this is the worst defense at limiting free throws. They give up the most free throws per game. They have the worst free throw rate on the season. They're not a bad transition defense where he's also getting out into the transition, but there's going to be a lot of transition in this game, right? They are good at limiting spot up because they do not defend the pick and roll ball handler well at all, right? And RJ might be playing a lot more pick and roll ball handler because he's going to be the best scorer, playmaker, everything on the floor for this team without Emmanuel Quickley in. It's going to be he and like Agbaji and Kelly Olynyk, and then Gary Trent, who's going to be getting the spot ups. I don't like the points for Gary Trent for that exact reason. You look at where Gary is scoring from. It's going to be above the break. I guess they're a little bit better. The threes might not be terrible, but it's all spot up, right? And they're the number one defense against spot up because they don't double team. So ISO players can get points against them, but spot ups do not because they don't help off of their guys. They just let you play one-on-one defense, all their dudes. So Gary Trent's not as good of a look. I think RJ's not a bad look for the points. If he's going to be taking that many shots. Now, without IQ, let me take Emmanuel Quickley out of here. The problem is we don't have anything without all these dudes playing, right? Without IQ and without like Scotty Barnes, for instance. I don't even know if he's played one of those games. Yeah, he played one game. He got 26 against Denver in that game without Quickley or Scotty Barnes. And then his field goal attempts were at 20 against Denver in that game. He took 3 threes. He went to the free throw line 5 times against Denver. I think he's a pretty good look because of the amount that I think he's going to get to the line. It's tough to see this game going anything but over, even at a very high total. Very fast pace for both these teams. So I got to put a little bit on the over points for RJ, just knowing what he's been doing. Even the first half might be a look too. What's his first half bet here? Instead of full interval, I'm going to change this to first half bet. 12.5 points in the first half. That might be a look, honestly. He's going to be doing most of the shooting. This game is going to come out fast for sure, right out the gates. I think RJ might be the bet for the first half. First quarter for him is at 6.5. That's a little bit scarier. I still think the minutes, like if you look at the first quarter, he's played 9 minutes. Oh, this is still in this exact situation. So let's just do like looking at the last 3. It's coming out pretty hot in the first half. Not quite as hot. So maybe it's just a full game then, honestly. And it's really high at this point for RJ, but this is going to be a dude who's going to be barreling to the basket against this team. So I'm going to throw RJ in there for 0.3 units because I want to keep us honest while there's a ton of bets still probably to come. So I'm going to put RJ Barrett in here to get 24 points over 23.5. And I'm going to take that for what do we got here? My bad. In the full game for RJ, his points at 23.5, we can get minus 114 on FanDuel. So that's a good enough discrepancy for me. Minus 114 on FD for 0.3U because I do think he's a good bet and it's a decent edge, but I got more that I'm going to like here. All right, so we got him there. That's all going to be up on the bottom line there. Maxey and Lowry just ruled out. Thank you. That's helpful. It's a good point. I feel what you're saying real quick about quickly here. Konstantin Maruzic. I don't want to get that wrong. That's a fire name. When we look at the stuff for Gary, what scares me about Gary Trent, and I'll take IQ out because it's a good call, but he's really still just going to be off ball. He's not really playing on ball. If you look at him without IQ this season, in the last 10, so 1, 2, 3, actually the last 5 is enough because this is since IQ came to the team, right? So since Quickley came to the team, he's played without him in a couple games. But a few of those, he still had like Scotty Barnes in there feeding him the ball. The threes, same thing, right? Like some games he did all right. It's not going to be much of anything for me with Gary Trent. I'll show you. You saw it on Props Madness, right? If you look at Gary Trent, I don't even have to go to NBA for this. Where his spot up stuff is what's the worst part for me, right? Like he's not going to just be left open because they're not going to help off of him to help on other guys. It's just that simple. Even if RJ Barrett's going off, they're not going to help off of RJ's guy to get off, to give Gary Trent some open looks, right? It's really about him going all the way to the bucket, scoring around the rim, and then getting those free throws. So that's what we're going to do with him. For Kelly O, that's what we have up next as well. Is he a good fade here? It's tough. With Kelly O, it was a lot easier to fade him when we just had everybody off and they were juicing his props too high because they thought for some reason that he was going to be like better and be able to get 14 or 15 rebounds and assists without his other dudes in there. Not quite the case. I mean, in the last 3 since these dudes have been back, he's actually gone under pretty handily. The assists were at 10 potential assists, and this is at 6.5 for him to get 7. In fact, you can get under 7.5 for Kelly at minus 145 on FanDuel for just his assist. That feels pretty good because that's, like we said, Indiana does not give up assists to anybody. I believe he went over against them last game, which is mad annoying. Let me pull him back up real quick. And we look at head-to-head. He did not. He did not go over last game in terms of the assists against this team. It was Brooklyn that he went over, which is another team he should have gone under. But under 7.5 assists for -145 is better than the under 6.5 for -152. That doesn't make any sense. BetMGM's not pulling through, so it's got to be 6.5. But we can get -121 on Caesar for under 6.5 dimes for Kelly. I'm starting to like that a lot. The rebounds, if we look at his rebounding profile here on Courtside Pal, against Indy, yeah, I mean, he gets the fourth fewest. Let me look at his rebound chances real quick. Let's go back to players tracking rebounding. This is all on NBA Advanced Stats. And let's pull up Toronto real quick. And I'm going to do the last 5 games for Kelly O. I got 6, whatever. Last 6 games for Kelly O. Rebound chances, he's at 13, right? Did that diminish at all in the last 3 since he's gotten these dudes back? In the last 3, no, he's at 15 rebound chances. So the rebounds are a little bit scarier. The potential assists are not. The points and assists might be a decent play. Even if he is bad at getting rebounds against this team, like we see here, his rebound profile, they're going to be 4th best at limiting rebounds to his rebound profile. But you combine that with the 15. Let me look at his just broad numbers real quick, because he's really fluctuates do so much relative to like who's on the floor for him, and that changes so much. So the rebounds have been there with RJ and IQ back. The points have been fluctuating, but the assists feel really good to go under with. In the last 3, he's looking at 9, 7, 5. So basically 6 or so, 7-ish. Yeah, 7 potential assists to get 7. That's without Emmanuel Quickly. We should keep that in mind. So if we do without IQ, that might be the changing factor here, to be honest. You look at him without IQ and without Scotty Barnes, just to make sure that that's clear. Without Botham, and he came to this team kind of late, right? So he's gone over in 4 of his last 6 with the assists without those dudes. Even if he is bad at getting assists, what are his minutes been? 26 minutes. And his potential assists, my bad, I keep scrolling by him, 10.6, right? So that is maybe a little bit more of a good reason to stay away from Kelly O, because of the fact that even on the under, like if you look at him without IQ and without Scotty Barnes in those last 5, right, it's a lot. It's a lot. And even against the Thunder, he had 14 potential assists. They just didn't finish. They only gave him 5, but he still easily could have gotten 7 right there on 14 of them. So I think he's actually a pass, bro. You know how much I love to fade Kelly Olynyk, but I got to pass on that for him. And as far as the other couple bets I had in here for this squad, Siakam might be a play. I'll just look at him real quick. I know we like the revenge idea, but for Siakam, tough. We look at last 5 for him. Let me go over to rebound chances and start there. So we're back on tracking. I'm going to pull up Indiana instead of Toronto and look at the last 10. Let's look at the last 15. I mean, this team hasn't changed much in the last 15, right? They've been basically the same team. Pascal's at 13 rebound chances, getting 9. That's a lot. 68.5%, even for a power forward. I mean, this Toronto team is terrible at rebounding. They are so bad. And if we do think this game goes at a fast pace, there should be a decent amount of boards. It's just, is he going to be in position to get them? Looking at his rebounds, Toronto actually not that bad at limiting his rebounds this season. 24th in terms of his boards and his rebounding profile. We are at 13. It's not enough to go over, even at -106. 9.5 on, it looks like it's dropped too, right? Like you can get +105 for him to get 9, but in the last 10 games, he's gotten 9 4 times at least. On the season, like even last 15 since he's come to this team, slightly more than half the time, but that's not enough of an edge for me with Pascal. So I'm off the Pascal stuff. Let me get out of this game and see what we got next. So I will take a quick look at Miami at Atlanta. We got a couple bets from everybody in that one, so definitely want to jump in to the comments if you do have something that you want to go over. We still got at least a few minutes here, at least 20 minutes, right? So I got Miami, Atlanta. I was looking at unders. Now I know a couple of y'all brought up some overs for some cats, but I think under is going to be a little bit of a better play. Damn. Wait. So what are we saying? Do we see? Let me see if this is coming up on the injury report. Y'all are just talking about the injuries, which is obviously something I want to look at. So Maxey out, Lowry out. We knew that. So yeah, like you're saying, it looks like it's going to be Embiid and maybe some Toby Harris. And then Oubre as well. So there might be something to that now that we have dudes out, but we still probably don't have very many bets, right? Yeah, we don't even have Oubre. Let me just pull up FanDuel or DraftKings real quick and see if that we got any odds from them popping up directly on the books. This is us breaking from scheduled programming. Also, I did want to consider the ladder for Derek White. You can see I was looking at what that was on DraftKings earlier. If we look at player points right now, yeah, we still don't have nothing for those teams. I think Kelly Oubre is a good look. We'll probably see that open, though, at like 18.5 maybe against this Detroit squad. Blowout potential high. Gotta be scared of that game a bit. This Miami game, like, it's a fishy bet. I want to introduce something to y'all that I'm going to make more official, but this is the stinkiest bet of the day. So the stinky bet of the day is something that my buddy Jacob came up with, because he's definitely a good bettor in a lot of ways. He came up with stinky bet of the day, and what I mean by stinky bet of the day is, why is Miami only 3.5 points favored against this Hawks squad that is still playing all its backups and doesn't need to win nearly as bad as this Miami team does? Like, the Hawks are not jumping anybody. They're in the 10 seed. They could get the 9 seed against Chicago, but like, whatever. Miami, if you look at them, like, they still have a shot to leapfrog up into the 6 seed if they're lucky and get out of that play-in. So why is it that they're only favored by that much? What do the books know? Why is it so stinky? And with the stinky bet of the day, you lean in. You don't go, okay, well, it's obviously the Heat -3.5, -4, because it's too small of a line for a team that's better than this team by 4 points. You go, well, somebody knows something, and I'm not hip to it. So I'm going with the stinky bet, which is the Hawks +4, which is like, that's too low. That's not a big enough spread, but it could be. So I am taking the Hawks +4, just so you know. The over-under at 219.5 feels about right. Both these teams playing pretty slowly in general, especially the Hawks with this iteration of the Hawks. So keep all that in mind. I'm not big on overs in this game, to be honest with you. I like the idea of fading Scary Terry, because I do think he's still hurt. He's questionable to play, and he might not play, which just makes the bet a push. But I got to consider, like, I've been thinking about this under stuff for Terry Rozier, because they really need to integrate Tyler Hero. So you look at the minutes for Terry in the last 2 games, he's at 24 and 21 minutes, right? 25 and 22, let's say. So he's at like 23 minutes a game in his last 2 since Hero came back. You look at Hero's minutes over the last 2 since he came back. If he's up here, where's Hero at? Where you at, Hero? I'm gonna have to refresh, aren't I? Hate when this happens. It doesn't pull through. He's not on the injury report, is he? Pulling up Tyler Hero in this Miami Heat game real quick. Player points. He does not have anything up. I guess because he's not starting, they're not putting props up as fast for him. So, but either way, for Tyler Hero over the last 2 games, Tyler Hero last 2 games, 25 and 31 minutes, right? So way more than Terry Rozier. So that's what I think is going to keep happening, is that they want to play him and get him integrated, and they don't want Terry Rozier in there for as much. They don't need him in there for as much, to be honest with you. So I like an under for Terry. If he doesn't play, then it's just null and void. But if he does play and he's a little bit hurt and they don't want to play him very much, then I think it makes sense that the under is a good call here. So I'm going under for Terry just to take it right now. I'm going to take under on the points. The shots that he's taken in the last 2, he's at 10 and 7 shots each, 15.5 points. I like the under for him, and probably not playing that many minutes. So I'm going to take him for half a unit under. I didn't even put him in here. This is what we got coming up next. And this is what we're still looking at here. So let me pull up on the bottom line right now is going to be everything that we still have to come, and that is coming up next in total. But right now you can see up next specifically, we got this Miami Atlanta game. I'm adding Scary Terry to, oh, my bad. Hold up. Yeah, I'm messing you up. Okay. Bottom line has what's coming up next. And I'm adding Scary Terry to the card for half a unit at under 15.5 points, which I feel like is going to be a void. I don't think he's going to play, to be honest. But I'm still going to put him in there. So Rozier under 15.5 points. And I can still get that for minus, what is that? 110 on DraftKings, 106 on Caesars. I got a Caesars account. All right, minus 106 on Caesars per 0.5 U. All right. So upcoming on the bottom line right now, early card bets right now. You can see we already got PJ Washington in there for his PR. We got Brunson over PA. I got OG Anunoby under PRA. That's all scrolling on the bottom. And I got an over for Josh Hart assists. That's what's up next there. And then the other one that I put in last night is Draymond Green over 6.5 boards. I think that's ladderable as well. If you want to play that up to like 10 boards, I do think that's a good look. Don't get cute with the double-double. I don't think he's good for 10 dimes, and I just never know if he's good for 10 points, but probably not. So the double-double is not in play for me with him. Jalen Johnson is the talk of the comment section right now. I know that. So let me take a look at that real quick. All right. Yeah, that's a good look. We can briefly look at that Rockets game. I'll add Paolo to the stuff. I want to make sure I'm not missing some of the bets y'all bring up. So I'm going to put Paolo in here for that Orlando-Houston game. That's the only bet I really have to look at. We'll look at Paolo points and just see what's up with that, what he does without Franz. So looking at this one with Jalen Johnson, the thing is there's other games with a lot of dudes out, and I love to have dudes that are out so I can look at like what players do in this situation, how stuff changes, right? It's really nice to have that. But the one thing I will look at is Jalen Johnson. I was considering an under for Jalen Johnson, to be honest with you. The scary part about the under for Jalen Johnson is if we look at him without who we taking out here. There was somebody I wanted to take out. No, we'll leave it in for now. If we look at Jalen Johnson last 10, first of all, he's missed a number of games here and there. In the last 5 since he's come back, the points have been a little bit harder to come by. It's weird for me to think that he's going to go over in this game. But the thing is he going to get the minutes? And if you look at the way his minutes have fluctuated a bit, the 125-minute against Chicago was a little bit concerning. But let's do last 10 for Jalen Johnson in terms of his points, and let's up his minutes so that it's at least 33 minutes, because that's what I have him projected for in this game. So whenever you're trying to make a projection for a player, like making a number for what you think he could actually do, you really want to make sure you're projecting his minutes, and then you can look at how much what does he do per minute, right? So when he gets these 33 minutes a game on the season, he's still about 17, but in the last 10, he's at 18. This is still not enough of anything for an over for me, for sure. I'm leaning under for him, except for he does shoot a lot of, let's look at him on Props Madness real quick. He shoots a lot of spot up, and that is what the Heat are the most vulnerable. If you look at Jalen Johnson and his up here, you have play type analysis, right, on Props Madness. Make sure you check Props Madness out in the description of the video with the link to it. The spot up is where the Heat are the second worst defense in terms of limiting spot up shooters' points, right? He is at 5 points per game. He is getting the most spot up shots for this team. So him in the corner or anywhere above the break shooting threes is a little bit scary, right? Especially if he is going to shoot some from the corner, which at times he has. But the transition stuff is the other place he gets most of his points. Heat get back, second best transition defense. So I lean under for dude more than anything. I think the points rebounds are a good under more than anything as well. If you look at him in in Courtside Pal, I'll put Jalen Johnson in here. This is for player profile versus team defense. And I go to his rebounds. His rebounding prop against Miami, 25th in terms of limiting his rebounds is Miami's defense. If you look at his points and where he's shooting from, they are the best team at limiting his shot profile and the 8th best team at limiting his scoring profile. Like we can kind of see in terms of what I showed you on Props Madness, right? In terms of how he's scoring for the most part, other than spot up, like transition as the pick and roll man, getting to the free throw line, like they don't give it up at all. They don't give up putbacks. So he's just not the type of scorer that you believe in against this team. And as far as the rebounds go, rebounding against this team should also be really hard. Let me look at opponent. We'll put him in Courtside Pal, right? What was the rebounds at? Let's finish up with that. Rebounds against Miami, they are going to limit him to the 6th fewest, right? 25th is 6th fewest rebounds that they limit his rebounding profile. So I don't think there's going to be that much available for him. One last thing I'll look at as far as the rebounds go is player tracking rebound data. So this is on NBA stats. Make sure you check this out so you see the volume of rebound chances that he's getting, right? So is he even putting himself in position to get those rebounds? Let's do last 5 since he's been back fully from injury. And we're on the Hawks, and we've got the last 5 games. And the rebound chances are at 14, so pretty good. I mean, 10 of them, though, is what he's been averaging on 13.8 rebounds chances. That's 73% rebound chance percentage. That's really, really high. The teams that he's been playing in the last 5, I mean, not bad rebounding teams. But let's look at Dallas and Denver versus his rebound profile real quick as for comparison, because the last couple games he went under versus Denver, he went over versus Dallas, and over versus Detroit since coming back, right? So Dallas, let's see his rebound profile versus Dallas, still not great, so that is impressive. Versus Detroit, they are going to give up rebounds to his rebound profile. Also not bad. So there doesn't seem to be much correlation between his rebounding profile and how he gets boards. He's at the 13.8 rebound chances. That's just a little bit high for me to feel good about him getting 10. Oh, he only needs 9 though. So yeah, I think it's all a stay away from me. I hate to take that much time on Jalen Johnson. I thought I might have a bet for him, but I'm good on that. I'll just look at Clint Capella real quick because you guys wanted to, but I can tell you right now, I think that's a stay away from me as well. If you look at the way that Miami defends centers, where they defend, they limit points. Maybe you like the rebounds, and maybe you think he's going to get some more minutes against Miami. Let me see if there's any correlation there. So I'm on Clint Capella now. Looking at his last 10, obviously he's been scoring a lot. But if we look at him against Miami head-to-head, in 3 this season, he's gone under the points pretty comfortably. And he's had Trey, so I don't know what you want to do with that yet. Let me look at that for him real quick. Clint Capella with and without. This is StatMuse. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with it, but it's the best for quickly pulling up with and without stats or splits and stuff like that. So with and without Trey Young this season for Capella. See if there's any correlation there. He's in the 43. He's played with him. Yeah, it's basically the same numbers. He gets a little bit more on the rebounds, but the minutes basically stay the same. The points kind of stay the same. If we look at Clint Capella versus Miami in the last 3 games, looking at 22, 27, 24 minutes. Like with Clint Capella, I'm usually looking at who does he play the most minutes against? Because when you've got bigs that he needs to be in there. So we took him over versus Denver the other day because he has to be in there to hang with Nikola Jokic. Nobody else can even come close to defending him. So because he was always going to get the minutes there, felt good to get the boards over in the sheer volume. But in the 3 he's played this year against Miami, he's only at about 24-ish, 25 minutes total against this Miami team, 24 really. And if you look at the last 5, I know he's been playing a few more minutes. He's up to about 28. But I don't know that there's that much correlation there. So let's say he plays 28 minutes, right? Even in the games he's played 28 minutes against his team during the regular season, still not really looking very healthy. If we look at the points and rebounds combined, yeah, I think the points as an under isn't a bad play. They're really good. If you look at how he's getting his points, it's second chance points, right? And it's also rolling to the rim. So let's go to players track play type. So I'm going to go to the play type for players so I can look at him as the pick and roll man. And I'm going to filter this to Atlanta and assume that he is doing that a lot. Yeah, so he's doing it the most for his team. It is kind of how he gets 2.5 points off of that. If we look at scoring real quick, so I'm going to go to players and I'm going to go to general, and I'm going to go to scoring to see how he scores the majority of his points. So I can filter this to just Atlanta. So I'm on players, general, scoring. And filtering it to the Hawks. And if you look at Capella, obviously it's all from 2. I guess I can't look at second chance points here. It's all from 2 points in the paint. Yeah, obviously. So, I mean, Miami's still going to be good at limiting everything he does. There's a reason he's gone under hella. If you look at the last thing I'll look at for Clint just to see, because the points at 10 is like, that's the problem with the double-double, maybe more than the rebounds for me for Clint Capella, is I don't trust him to get the points. The field goals that he's attempted against his team, right? He's only gotten about 5, but that's all probably with Trey when he was still healthy. If we look at the last 5, even then with the field goals he's attempting, he's still only at 8 field goals, right? To get 12 points means he needs to hit 6 out of 8 against this Miami squad, who doesn't put you at the line very much. The free throws, he had 12 against Denver. That's a huge outlier. Let's look at how Miami limits their other teams' free throws. So we're going to go to general. Teams general. This is under NBA Advanced Stats. I'm going to go to 4 factors. That gives me free throw rate and opponent free throw rate. So if we look at opponent free throw attempt rate, Miami limits opponents' free throws to the 4th best rate, right? So like 0.2 free throws per minute, essentially. And if we look at this as just opponent free throw attempts straight up, they give up the 3rd fewest free throws on the season. So I don't think we can really rely on Clint. If anything, I think Clint Capella's under on points is a much better play here with the amount of field goals that he's taking versus a really good team down low. If you take a Clint Capella bet in this one, it would be an under on the points for me. And we'll move on from this game at this point. So nothing else to add here. You got the bets scrolling on the bottom for what we've got already on the card and what was from the early card and what we updated on the show here as well. All right. Next game that I'm going to be pulling up here. Let me see if there's some thoughts on a couple things too, because I know you guys keep me honest. Maybe we should look at Micic. You always know I'm down to go on a Micic bet. But man, sometimes it's just lucky for dude. It feels lucky. So I'm staying away from Micic in this game. I'm looking for those situations where the other team is really bad at defending the ball handler in the pick and roll. And above the break stuff. So if I go to play type and I look at Dallas's defense real quick and I go to pick and roll ball handler, this is what I'm looking at for Micic. Just how good is this team at defending the pick and roll ball handler? Because he's doing this at an insanely high rate right now. So frequency for Dallas, how often it's happening against them. Not very. They're top 10 in terms of how often it's happening. Gets them not very often. Possessions per game, right, are at still top 10ish. Points per possession for them. This is the best teams versus worst teams. So this is the best teams right here. Middle of the pack. Points per game at 16. Still middle of the pack. So not as much of an edge there for me to take Micic because dude doesn't take enough shots necessarily for me to feel great about an over for him. But I love you bringing him up and I appreciate that. I do agree that if you're going to take a DeJounte Murray prop, it's going to be an over on the an over prop. It's the assists more than anything. I actually kind of think the points are better under if you want to take that. And if you are going to take Jalen Johnson for over on anything, it would be the assists. And if you're going to fade him, it would be the points and rebounds as well. I fully agree with that on Jalen Johnson. And now Rozier's doubtful, which is annoying because whatever. All right. Yeah. So Dave, just what I was saying real quick, the stuff for my bad, the stuff for whoever we were just talking about. Yeah, no, Clint. Yeah, I'm good on all that. All right, cool. So just looking at some of what you guys got tonight. Yeah, Bruno could be a good look. I don't know about less minutes because of anything. Like, I'm just saying Clint doesn't play. I can't bank on Clint Capella playing a lot of minutes because it's not something he really does in terms of playing against this squad. So, all right, let me see. Oh, Beasley's hurt too, coming in from Brian Andrews. Pat Bev taking Beasley's spot in the starting lineup. Oh no, okay. So Beasley's still playing. You're just saying he's taking a spot in the starting lineup, maybe to play some D. I get that. Not sure who he's going to be in there D'ing up. Glenn Rivers, man. Oh, and now we got Memphis missing everybody again. So I do want to look at Wemby. Let me keep it moving here. The next game that we got coming up, we already did Boston, so we don't need to have them on the list anymore. I will take a quick look at this Sacramento game, and I do feel like I have some stuff for and we got Wemby coming up too. So I'm keeping it. I'm sticking to my guns here, though, y'all. Wait, my bad. This is I'm sticking to my guns in terms of whatever's on the upcoming list is all we got and nothing else. So I don't take forever since we have other games that people want to look at. So we got Sac at OKC is what we're on right now. Pulling up Props Madness because we talk about a Chet under points. I don't hate that. That was the look that was brought up, and I like that idea. So thank you to whoever did that. Let me pull up Sac OKC. Okay, so Chet's already down to 15.5, right? Because I think, is J-Dub officially in? Do we know? Let's see if anything came up. Cade's out. That's why I wasn't even about to look at Cade, bro. And SGA does not have a minutes limit, so that might be a good look as well. Although, that's 28.5 points coming back from the first one. There's Rozier being out. Can see y'all are looking at the same stuff here that I'm now looking at, but we still don't have anything necessarily on this game that we're looking at for OKC in terms of J-Dub, right? But he was at shoot around today, so there's probably something to like for J-Dub. See what y'all got, if there's anything. All right, cool. So I'm going to pull up Chet at 15.5 points. I thought we were about to get 18, bro. That would have been fire. Rebounds at 8.5, eh? He has 111 rebound game. What about the points versus this squad? Has not hit the points. If J-Dub is in there, right? Like, let's look at the last 5 on the points. Went over versus Charlotte and over versus Philly. Under versus Indy, under versus Boston, under versus New York. So Sac versus centers. Let me just start there. Let me put Chet in courtside pal because he's also a little bit of not your average center. So I know there's a bunch of new people in here right now in the stream. This is what we do every day. So jump in the comments if you do have something that you want to put up in terms of me looking at these bets with you guys. All the tools that I'm using, the links are in the description. So check those out. This one is courtside pal, which I think is gaining a lot more steam here. I also want to have dude on. Courtside pal is a dude I've been going back and forth with in the DMs and just asking him questions because I love this site. And so I kind of want to get him in here and have him look at some bets with us for real. I think that'd be fire. We'll get him in here soon. I'm going to get people in this live stream with me. We're doing this together, y'all. So not everybody's used to what we're doing and not everybody's hopped up on coffee like I am and ready to talk as fast as I do. So points for Chet against this Sac squad. They do not defend centers very well, huh? So that's a little bit scary. If we look at the rebounds, they do get boards, but they're still middle of the pack. They're not very good against Chet's profile. Let me pull up FanDuel Fantasy Pros. Also, link in the description. Look, this is defense versus position. And I mean, Chet's a center. We'll consider him that. He's the tallest player in the court. Centers, they give up the fewest points, and they're middle of the pack in terms of limiting rebounds. So there's some discrepancy between the FanDuel Fantasy Pros and what we have here for for Chet on Courtside Pal. So for those of y'all still bringing up bets, the bottom line right now is going to be scrolling with what we have coming up after the Kings and Thunder right here. I can't get next to much for Chet without that much of a, on the season, he's at 16.5 points. If we do, I think J Will is going to play, J Dub rather. If we do with J Dub and with our boy SGA on the season, he's over in 35 of 64. The last 10, it's about 50%, and he's under this number on total. And I do think there's something to Sack not giving up points to his type of profile, to be honest. Let's put him in Props Madness real quick. We look at Sack OKC and pull up Chet Holmgren. All right, opponent defense, they are very good at limiting everything right next to the rim. They are not good at limiting things in the paint extended area, which is where Shai scores all his points, SGA, right? If we look at where Chet is taking his shots from, they are right around the rim for the most part and a little bit above the break. So, yeah, he shoots from where they're pretty vulnerable, I'll be honest with you, right? Like, except for down low. Down low, they are not that vulnerable. So that is true, because if he's taking 42% of his shots right next to the basket, they're the fourth best defense right next to the basket. He's taking the rest of them above the break. We know that's where he stands for the most part. And yeah, I don't like his points in this one. I think an under is a better play for his points. I think on the rebounds as well. So his PR is at 23.5. I think that's a good under for real. In the last 10 games without these dudes, yeah, I think it's a better play, but I'm a pass on Chet. I thought it was 18.5, and it either went down or was never that. So we're going to pass on him. Right now, I got the bets that we've already hit. The early card is up, and then also the added bets are going to be in there too. See if y'all had anything to say about Chet. Sabonis over 14.5 rebounds is always terrifying. But it's definitely a good profile for getting boards against the Thunder, who are terrible at rebounding. We know that. In the 2 they played, looks like they played 3 this season. He's gone over this once and under twice, right? 15 boards, any way you slice it, bro, is a lot of rebounds. It's insane. Even for Sabonis, who, if we look at his rebound chances, so I'm back on NBA Advanced Stats, and I'm looking at tracking data, and I'm on rebounds. And if I'm looking at rebounding for Chet Holmgren, and I look at all season segments, let's do last 10 for Chet. And I know Shai's missed some of those, but let's just do last 10, because if anything, his rebounds should be worse. Oh, we're doing Domas. I'm sorry, bro. This is last 10 for Domas, 25 boards a game at 14 a game, right? How many times has he gone over 14.5 in his last 10? Right? 3. And they are 3 of his last 4. And so I'm assuming his rebound chances are through the roof. And this is a terrible rebounding team. We definitely know that. 20 rebounds twice in the last 4. I can't condone an under for this man. And he's bumping up against that number, but I can't condone an over on 14.5 rebounds right now. As bad as this team might be, I get what I know what you're looking at. Domantas is going to have what? Like, are they the second worst, third worst team against his rebound profile? For OKC, they're actually not 14th. Right. So I can't condone it. It's a pass for me on Sabonis, but if you're going to take anything on his rebounds, dude, I'd be taking under. I'm not going to lie to you. That's a little bit too scary for the over. So let's keep it moving here. Other stuff that I know I'm going to like more. All right, let's take Chet out of here. I'll take a look at that quickly at that Orlando-Houston game. Trying to keep it moving, bro. Orlando and Houston. We passed on Chet. All right, Paolo, I got his points in here is what we're looking at. But against Houston, actually, Houston sucks, yo. Honestly, like Houston in their last bunch of games, they're ass. Let's look at Paolo, though. Let's look at a few things for this squad with and without Franz Wagner, right? So if we look at Paolo points, he's up at 25.5 now. That's bonkers. Let's put him in courtside Pal for a sec. Paolo Banchero. And I also want to just pull up real quick the defense for this Houston squad, who over their last, let's do 7 games, their D rating is at the 3rd worst in the league. You can see that right here. Third worst in the league. Also Cleveland, no defense, more like Cleveland because they ain't got no D. Pace in the last 7. Houston, while they were playing at a super fast pace, is down to middle of the pack. Where are they at? Oh, they're still 9th. Okay, they're still playing decently fast, but the D rating is terrible. The O rating is also pretty bad, 10th worst. So this is a bad team right now. Let's be very clear. I think the Magic, what's their spread in this one? To be honest with you, didn't even look at 3.5. I'd be leaning on that Magic squad, even if they are playing on the road for Orlando. So for Paolo, I interrupted myself looking at him on courtside pal, pulling up his points where he shoots from against Houston. This might be a little skewed because this team was a lot better at defense at one point in the season, and this is not that point. But that's fine. Let's look at him real quick with and without Franz. So Paolo with and without Franz Wagner this season. All right. With and without Franz, only goes up a point, right? Only goes up 0.4 rebounds, only goes up 0.3 assists. There's not that much of a difference for Paolo with and without Franz this season. Even 8 games, goes up in 3 minutes a game, but really only he puts up 4.5 more shots, but his efficiency just plummets, right? In that sense, he does get to the line a bit more, but he's only at 23.8. I mean, if we put him in here without Franz, I don't think there's anything for me here with that. Let's look at a couple other guys, though, real quick on this team with and without Franz. So if we take, let's take Jalen Suggs to start real quick and see if anything goes up for him. Jalen Suggs with and without Franz Wagner this season on StatMuse. His minutes actually drop a little bit. Nothing there for him. Looks like he's actually a little bit better with Franz. We can take a look. Oh, Jonathan Isaac being ruled in is a thing. That dude is a top 10 defender in the league for sure. Bro is just crazy athletic. Rebounds. Let's look at John. I don't think there's gonna be much for Jonathan Isaac. He's been so in and out of the season. Let me look at what's his name? Wendell Carter Jr. with and without Franz Wagner this season. Only played 3 games without him, but his points double. I kind of thought he might be the guy. His points double in 3 games. Let me pull up Wendell and put him in here. His points are at 12.5. Who did he play without Franz? Pulling that up. He's over in all 4 this season without Wagner. I'm sorry, all 3 without Franz this season. His last 4 in general, right? And last season he went 4 for. I'm sorry, okay. So it's the last 3. He's played 4 now without Franz. He's gone over in all 4. 1 was against Philly, 1 Atlanta, 1 New York. If we look at centers versus this team, I do think Wendell Carter might be a play. I hate betting on Wendell Carter, but might be a play. Let's see real quick. By the way, volume in the games without Franz, 3 games this season. Minutes, only 23 minutes a game. Shots, only 10 shots a game. Like, I hate this for him. He hit 3 threes against Atlanta to get there. I can already tell you I'm off this dude. I'm not going to put myself through that on this 14-game slate. He does not get free throws. I know he got 7 in the last game, but like, I can't, man. It's terrifying. The 3 games are against decent defenses. The minutes don't go up. There's an element of luck that feels like there's there. I'll put him in courtside pal against this squad and pull up points versus Houston for Wendell. Doesn't seem like there's anything there. Middle of the pack in terms of defending him. If you look at centers, he's not much of a center, honestly. Let's look at the last 15 without Şengün and how they defend centers for Houston. They're still pretty good at limiting stuff against centers. Top 15, top 12. I'm off of that stuff for Wendell. And Paolo's too high. Like, I don't know that there's going to be that many points in this game, right? Like, you going back to the way these two teams are playing, defensive rating might be terrible for Houston, 3rd worst. And offensive rating also terrible, 20th. If you look at the offensive rating for Orlando, in their last 7, they're 15th. Their D rating still going to be top 6. Pace is going to be at 27th, right? 95 pace. I can't really condone it for too many overs. I think Paolo is a good bet. He's a better over than he is an under, but I can't get next to that one. And I don't know what to do with this game because I don't know how much Houston's going to be trying. So I'm kind of off of this one, to be honest with you. So let's move past the Orlando game. We still got plenty of games, and I've got like about 15, 20 minutes. I can't. I'm out on it, bro. Just to answer your question, for Carter, like, I would take an over on his points, but it's just so inconsistent in terms of the amount of shots and minutes, the volume and all that. So I didn't add anything else to the card, but what is going on the bottom right now is the updated card. We still have about 6.3 units that I have on my card right now. I know that. So let me update let me update what we got coming up. The next game is that San Antonio versus the whatever form of the Memphis Grizzlies we're about to get right now. So let me put that up and we'll take a look at Wemby. Man, I hope y'all got some Wemby tickets in early this year for Player of the Year. There was some pretty good stuff there. Bro, we might dare full court ball. What's good? Missed you in here, bro. Yeah, we might could dare take an under for Luka in that game. I avoided any of the other stuff, bro. So I'm off. I passed on Luka, but that's not a bad look. Is Wemby at 12.5 right now? I thought he was at 11.5. Let's pull him up in this San Antonio game. Pull this banner up so we know we're talking about this game. Everything scrolling on the bottom. Also going to have the final bets pinned in the comments of the video that's going to be on YouTube. Also, the last thing that's scrolling on that bottom line, this is for you, Free Sauce. We got that Discord coming. I've been putting in work as we had Monday off yesterday. So I put in a bunch of work on that Discord, really close to getting it out this week to y'all. So probably going to be announcing that in one of the live stream shows coming up. And then I'll be giving that link to you guys, and we'll be having some fun in there. If you do have something you want for the Discord, hit me up in the comments of these YouTube videos. I just want to make that clear. Like, I'm taking feedback. I'm ready for whatever y'all got, because I want to make sure it's for you guys. All right. Looking at Victor Wembanyama. I got to tell you right now, ain't no way I'm taking that 26.5 points. That's crazy high. I thought about taking under for him as of late in some of these games, but for me, I wanted to take an over against Philly, and I forgot to tell y'all, Wemby gets up for big games, plain and simple. Look at these games where he's like really good. All right. Philly did not have him beat in that game, but I was like, he's going off against the Paul Reed, right? Denver had a really awesome game against Denver. What was his PRA at? He got over his 44.5 PRA there. He had 46 PRA because he had 8 assists and 15 boards against them. I liked attacking the rebounds. I cannot believe it's minus 108. You can get even money on DraftKings at least for him to go 12.5. The 13 is a lot. Now, let's see right now. We got this on last 10 for him. He's gone over half the time. He's played 34 minutes. The games he did not go over, though, he definitely played way fewer minutes. Do we think he's going to get minutes in this game? I think he gears up for games against good teams. I don't really think he cares as much about playing bad teams, to be honest with you. And I don't think they really want to, like, test him that way. So it's scary for me to take anything. Like, just look at this disgusting injury report. Let me refresh my injury reports here from the NBA. And pull up the most recent one that came out 6:30 Eastern for that injury report. And we look at where we at here for Memphis, right? They're a G League team at this point. So it's easier to talk about who is playing, because they got every NBA player on their squad is out. Triple J, Desmond Bane, Luke Kennard, John Conchar, Laravia, Santi Aldama, obviously Ja, Derrick Rose retires, Marcus Smart should retire, Lamar Stevens. I mean, the fact that I even have to mention those dudes is out is like, what are we doing here? So I got nothing for. I think I'm off this game entirely. I really thought Wemby was still at 11.5, and I thought I still had an edge to be able to take it. Wemby assists. Let's just bring it up, Ballsack. Let me see real quick. On the assist for a dude, 5.5. He has been going over a bit. It's once again about the minutes and the volume. The potential assists in the last 4, 10, 12, 13, 13. To get 6 of them, not bad. That's a lot of potential assists. You're not gonna lie about that. Let's look at the 3-pointers too. I hate this game, dude. Like I don't have an edge with motivation for either team, and I think there's a couple other games I'd rather look at. So let's get off of this so we have some time for the other stuff. I'm gonna look at these two, and I know that y'all want to. I'm off of the. If you want to take Denver, anything like maybe you take Jokic to go off, but like tomorrow they're going to be saving dudes for tomorrow. So I think actually Jokic under 29.5 points is a good play with Murray. It's actually just not something he does that much. Utah doesn't have a center because they're sitting everybody. So if Joker wants to, he can easily get 30, but I don't think he's going to. So I'm updating the. Upcoming stuff so we can make sure we get the same stuff here as I try to drink properly. I'm telling you right now, I'm off Vooch assists. So anybody who was talking about that earlier, my bad, but I'm off of that. Kobe White under points, I think, is a play. So let's look at that. This is what we got coming up. So this is going to be how we close it out. These are the last bets. So unfortunately, I can't continue telling you to take that. Oh yeah, I hit Brunson last night. That's why that was on the projections video. That's why it's really good to see those videos that come out the night before. I had Brunson over 35.5 PA. Like you can see from DeOne Franchise pointing it out, his stuff's not at 20.5 anymore or 35.5 anymore, which is why I took it early in the first place, right? Just wanted to get that out. So this was on the video last night in case you wanted to look at that. And yeah, 35.5 is probably gone. I feel that. So nothing there, unfortunately, for that. But let's finish it up here with what we're looking at. So I got for the banners, these are the games we got up. Naz Reid is really high, but I mean, it makes sense that he would play. I mean, they are going to need all hands on deck tomorrow, and Naz Reid has become Cat's replacement, right? So it kind of seems a little bit scary to just blindly take PR for Naz Reid just because of the fact that he's like been he's playing against this Washington team that doesn't have anybody playing center. I was looking between he and Denny Avdia, to be honest. For Denny Avdia for PRA, 30.5. I think that's probably a good play. If you look at him, I'm going to take Kuzma out of here, Tyus Jones out of here, Marvin Bagley out of here, and Richaun Holmes out of here, and see what he's done this season and actually just do 23-24. So he's played twice without all these dudes. Toronto and Portland, much better than Minnesota. You have to be a little bit more scared of that. But he played 40 minutes in those two games. And granted, they were probably trying to win those a little bit more because they were super winnable games. And so it scares me a little bit for Denny, but I would lean to the over for Denny, 30.5 PRA. Let's put him in here real quick. Where's Denny at? Thank you. All right, we got Denny Avdia. Looking at his points first. I mean, it's going to be bad. What am I doing? It's Minnesota, right? Second fewest shooting and scoring. Playmaker assists gonna be bad. Where's Minnesota? Yeah, sixth best. I mean, this is the best defensive team in the league all season, just like pretty much for the whole season, right? If you look at rebounds versus Minnesota, it's gonna be even worse. Like, I know the volume is gonna be there, but I think I got to stay away on that. If you want to take an over for Naz on his PR, Naz is like last five. Couple unders in there against good teams, not bad teams. He obviously should feast against this team. The minutes in the last five, he's up to 31.6, averaging points and rebounds. Let's see real quick. In the last five, 27.8 on the 31.5 minutes, right? I don't know that you can feel good about him getting more than 31.5 minutes. I really don't. Like, you could put in Jaden McDaniels as your center against this squad. I think you'll be fine. You could put Nickeil Alexander-Walker as your center. I think you'll be fine. In fact, now I'm starting to talk myself into that. Like, I know he plays shooting guard, but I'm just saying, like, there's nobody for this others for the Washington team that you feel comfortable getting boards of any kind. Wow, I didn't realize Nickeil had been getting some more minutes. What's his minutes at in these last three that he's getting points? 23 minutes. I think backups is the way to go, though, in this game, to be honest with you. Like, even Monty getting some minutes in this game. I know he hasn't been playing, but I think if you're going to bet on this Washington-Minnesota game, you got to go with backups for sure. I wish I could just say blindly hit Denny Avdia, but I'm not confident in it. Naz Reid at 27.8 on 32 minutes a game. I'm just going to continue to believe that that's going to be his playing time. So I don't think I have anything for that one, unfortunately. I think you bet Washington to cover. If anything, I think you take Washington and Utah. You want to see something crazy about that Utah game? Nikola Jokic record at versus Jazz on the road. That insane. I think he's actually 1-14, but StatMuse is probably not registering a couple games. At least 1-12, maybe 1-14 on the road. And I'm not saying you should just get away from that, but like, they lost the last game on the road earlier this season to this team, and now there's nobody playing. So no way in hell would I take the Jazz live on the money line there, because they at least had their guys going in this last one, and now it's just going to be some combination of who's out for this team. Clarkson, Collins, Dunn, Walker, Markkanen, Sexton might not even play. So I can't condone the money line. I might consider the betting on 17.5 for the Wizards might be in play. Even the 14.5, is that what it's at for the Nuggets now? Like, if I would not be laying points with these two winners when they're about to play each other tomorrow for the division, right? I'm out on that, but I will look at a couple more bets just before we close it out here after like a 90-minute stream that we got going. And the last ones we got here, I think Kobe White's a good under. I think he's still a little bit hurt as well. I'm not sure if he was officially listed anything, but I know that he was hurt. And has been hurt. So that's why he's been going under hella. I'll pull up that Knicks game real quick. I have a bunch of bets from that Knicks game already, including the OG under, which is like my favorite bet of the day, and the over on points and assists for Brunson. Yeah, this is going to be skyrocketed, right? 37.5. Yeah, I mean, that was a bet from last night. 37.5 still isn't bad. I think the assist then is what I would take, because I was considering just taking the assist, but because of how many shots Brunson's taken, I was a little bit scared. Looking at the Kobe White points, 17.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. If we do last 10 for him, the PRA is still a good under, to be honest. 26.5. Actually, he does a couple things here and there. So 0.17. The board's a mad high for dude. I don't know. What were y'all? Some of y'all were talking about. I'm just looking at some comments to see what y'all say about Kobe White, because I know there was people in here that were bringing him up to go under. So yeah, and Free Sauce, you were the one that brought up the Kobe White under last time. Daryl Beth was pointing that out, which is a good look. Yeah, I think it's a good run back on the 3-pointers. Is it still 2.5? It's minus 156 to the under. Best number you can get, looks like, is minus 145 to the under on his threes. Feels like you might as well play the points under at that point. Minus 102. It could be a little bit scarier, but like what, he's going to drive into the lane against the Knicks and do better than he is from 3? Like, I don't think so. If you look at the game, he scored 26 against the Knicks. He hit 6 threes. Right. So, yeah, every other time he's going over. The under is a fine play, but because it's juiced all the way down, because I guess the books have it out and they know they're tracking you, Free Sauce, and they know that you know what you're talking about. So now whenever you make a bet, they are going to be keeping an eye on it because they know where sharp money's coming from. I'm going to take under on the points for Kobe White. I know we need to be fading him in this game. So I'm taking under on the 17.5. I'm going to do it's not a bad number here for the threes because look at the threes he's even been taking. This is against the Knicks. He's averaging 2 makes from deep, and that's with that 6-point, that sixer right there. The 3-point attempts versus them, 3-4-4. It's a great look. I mean, it's just juiced so far down. Let's roll with the under 3 so I can put a full unit on it and feel really good about it because he is not shooting from out there. I mean, I'm gonna hit both of them, honestly. I'm gonna put a full unit on him. My bad. Let me keep this for now. I'm gonna put a full unit on under for the threes for him. Kobe White. This is gonna be on the bottom line. Kobe White under 2.5, 3 p.m. I'm gonna take it for the full unit, minus 145 on DraftKings. He's definitely still hurt for sure. And like they're not gonna have a good matchup. So I knew I was gonna take that one. I also really like the under on the points because it's better juice, right? It's so much better juice. I might as well just take that for the full unit, honestly. And if I look silly, I look silly. But I mean, he's not gonna get the 18 points without hitting 3 threes, right? Like that's my logic there. So let me change that to the points, honestly. They just nuked the odds for us. So minus 17.5, under 17.5 points. And that is going to be for minus 102, which is a way better number. Minus 102 on, wait, is it plus 110 for him to get under on DK? Are they really now they're trying to sucker us and maybe they know something that we don't, like he's actually healthy. No way. Kobe White. Oh yeah. Cause it's under 18.5 on DraftKings. Wow. That's even better number for minus 110. So that's fine by me. Let me just see what it is on FanDuel right quick as well. Just go directly there. I know these games are about to start. Looking at this Knicks game on FanDuel, pulling up points for Kobe. Yeah, it's at 18.5 here from minus 106. So we'll take that. I love that. Minus 106 is just almost as good as what I was just about to take. So we got Kobe White under 17.5 points. This needs to go on the updated card. Putting that right here on the bottom for y'all. Make it clear. We got 1 unit on that for under 18.5. I love that we got that. And it looks like it's still going up. Oh, is Caruso and Dosunmu maybe out? Because that's the other thing I was waiting to see. And we didn't get final say on those 2 dudes, did we? So that is what I was looking at. A little bit scary. I mean, not that scary, if we're being honest. Last 10, let's take Caruso out. And he doesn't really play without Dosunmu this year. Taking Caruso out, he's gone over more than he's gone under. He was in a hot streak for sure. All these games are right in a row, right? When he was in a hot streak in the end of November into December. So I'm not worried about that. I'm going to take the under 18.5 and feel great about it. Let me make sure I got that flowing on the bottom line. If you did miss anything, these are going to be on the pinned comments of the video on YouTube. So make sure you check those out. All right, Yeah, I mean, Rudy's a good play on the rebounds. I know we went through that. Azani always in here with some good looks. So, I mean, that's a smart dude. If you're in the chat and you're following Azani or some of these dudes, I for sure would feel safe about it. I mean, these dudes know what they're talking about. All right, what do I have here? That's why this Discord is gonna be lit, bro, because I'm about to learn from you guys hella when we get in there. All right, so the other, yeah, I am on that Golden State and LA game, and I'm going to finish off with that. I don't have much for Phoenix. I'm not a good Phoenix Suns better. I have no feel for that team. I think y'all know that if you try to tail any bets this season. Draymond is my favorite bet at the rebounds. It is up to 7.5. So I got the 6.5 last night. Once again, got to be subscribed so that you get these videos when they come out night before, always putting out these projections videos. And because I had so many bets available in player props because of the day off on Monday, had 5 player props that I could put in last night, which is the bread and butter. So when I can play the player props without needing to get ahead of those early sides and totals, I do it. Like I said, I got Draymond. I'm also playing Steph. I'm just going to tell y'all right now, I'm playing Steph. He was at 25.5 at one point. It's definitely ballooned, and now you got to take 26.5, and I still think that's good because I was ready to take it at 27.5. Just look at what Steph does real quick, right? I mean, if you look at Steph versus this team head-to-head, 9 of his last 11, including all the playoffs and the 2 games that he played in against, or however many games last year. So I'm just going to pull up Steph Curry, Stephen Wardell, Steph Curry versus Lakers last 5 regular season games. On StatMuse, all right, this is all the games he's played against them since last season in the regular season, right? Not once has he gone under 27. He has the one that was last March, 4/27 exactly, where he shot 8 for 20 from the field, which is terrible, obviously, for him. But he's still putting up 25 shots per game against this team. I mean, come on, man. He's shooting at 47% overall with that 40% blemish in there. And from 3, he's shooting 38.6%. This is all Steph Curry numbers. These are all average good numbers for dude. It's not like he's gone extra ballistic against them. He's just playing, he's shooting more against them. It's just that simple. If you look at him over the last 10 games, right, he's only gone over 4 times. Look at the shot attempts, though, and look at the minutes, right? 31 minutes. So they handled Orlando. He played 35. They handled Charlotte, so he only played 32. Same with the Spurs. They needed him in that game. And the Mavs, they lost, I believe, that game. But then Houston and Dallas, yeah. So 30 minutes against Houston. Either way, I think like 31 and 32 minutes is a good like baseline for him. But if you look at him versus this team in the regular season, he's up at 35 minutes a game. Like they play him for a reason. He rested entirely, by the way, in the last game against Utah. So now I've got him versus the Lakers in the last 5 in the regular season, and that's 35 minutes a game, right? So I just think with the volume for Steph, you know that he's going to be out there. I think you can take 30-plus points of the ladder if you want. But I've got Steph in here, and I don't think I put him up yet. So I'm just going to put him in here right now and not spend too much more time because I already know I'm taking that for over 26.5 points. And I can get minus 112 on FanDuel for that. All right, so I got to get those bets in, those West Coast ones as well. Got that in there for point. I really want to put a full unit on that. I'll have the final card there, like I said, pinned to the comments of this video. So make sure you check that out. All right, cool. We got that. The only other thing I'm gonna look at is LeBron for what he does against this team. I know we want to take assists. That was a bet that someone put out there. LeBron dimes against this squad. Done it twice in the 2 games he's played against them this season, going over 8.5. I don't think there's as much there. I think the points for LeBron is a pretty good play. He's gone over a ton. If you look at his last, so this is dating back to last season's regular season, right? And he's gone over in 3 of 4. The one that he didn't get it, he played 26 minutes in what I believe was a blowout. What happened in that 223 game? Let's see real quick. Steph Curry, where's we don't have that game from last season. All right, not as worried about it. I think the minutes not being there is fine. That's what I'm looking at. His points in the last 10 of the season here, he's only gone over 5 of 10, getting 20. He's averaging 26 a game, though. In those 10, he's taking 16 shots a game. Against the Dubs in the regular season, his last 4, he's taken 23 3.5 shots per game. We got to take him on the over points at the you just have to with that amount of volume. Plus, you still got 24.5 at -115. So I'm taking Labrizi over on the points. As chalky as this might feel to just be taking LeBron points and Curry points, like I think they're both trying to get in the playoffs. This is a playoff game. Playoff atmosphere for these teams means overs usually. So over 24.5 points for Labrizi. We're going to take that at -115 on FanDuel for 0.5 U as well. We got a call. We got hella bets in there. Everything's rolling on the bottom line there. So I'm going to leave it up if you're still in here and you want to check it out. Card from last night is in there. The last thing you'll see on that bottom line is that we got that Discord coming. I've got it damn near set up. Last thing is jump into the comments and let me know what you want in that if there's anything you think that would be a good idea to have in there, let me know. Always play DeAndre Ayton overs, by the way, never play unders, and this probably is another good look against the Pels. They're going to need him in there for rebounding big time. So I think DeAndre Ayton dominating is a good look. We got a super full card, so I'm good on this at this point. But appreciate y'all tuning in. Definitely come back tomorrow. Tonight, don't miss those projections video. You saw these lines move. Like we got sandbagged in a couple of them because they got nuked after those people started playing those props. I don't know if they're following what I'm doing, but I know that it was some hella good bets that we had in there from last night that already have really, really good closing value, right? So check the video out from tonight from last night if you want. Make sure you're coming back in here tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, as we always do. We're gonna have that live stream on Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Just gonna have another big slate, smaller on Thursday, but gonna have that live the Discord ready for. We got 30 games over the weekend between Friday and Sunday in the NBA, so lots to look at, bro. Good shit from y'all. Really appreciate you guys coming in and bringing your bets, man. We got some smart people in here. We're gonna keep it going. Good luck tonight. Gamble responsibly. A lot of games mean to lose all your money before the playoffs, right? Until I do see you tomorrow, happy betting.